From the first book of Samuel.
As they pressed their attack on Israel, with the Israelites fleeing before them and falling mortally wounded on Mount Gilboa, the Philistines pursued Saul and his sons closely, and slew Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua, sons of Saul. The battle raged around Saul, and the archers hit him. He was pierced through the abdomen. Then Saul said to his armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and run me through, lest these uncircumcised come and make sport of me." But his armor-bearer, badly frightened, refused to do it. So Saul took his own sword and fell upon it. After the death of Saul, David returned from his defeat of the Amalekites and spent 2 days in Ziklag. On the 3rd day a man came from Saul's camp with his clothes torn and dirt on his head. Going to David, he fell to the ground in homage. David asked him, "Where do you come from?" He replied, "I have escaped from the Israelite camp." "Tell me what happened," David bade him. He answered that the soldiers had fled the battle and that many of them had fallen and were dead, among them Saul and his son Jonathan. Then David said to the youth who was reporting to him, "How do you know that Saul and his son Jonathan are dead?" The youthful informant replied, "It was by chance that I found myself on Mount Gilboa and saw Saul leaning on his spear, with chariots and horsemen closing in on him. He turned around and, seeing me, called me to him. When I said, 'Here I am,' he asked me, 'Who are you?' And I replied, 'An Amalekite.' Then he said to me, 'Stand up to me, please, and finish me off, for I am in great suffering, yet fully alive.' So I stood up to him and dispatched him, for I knew that he could not survive his wound. I removed the crown from his head and the armlet from his arm and brought them here to my lord." David seized his garments and rent them, and all the men who were with him did likewise. They mourned and wept and fasted until evening for Saul and his son Jonathan, and for the soldiers of the Lord of the clans of Israel, because they had fallen by the sword. Then David said to the young man who had brought him the information, "Where are you from?" He replied, "I am the son of an Amalekite immigrant." David said to him, "How is it that you were not afraid to put forth your hand to desecrate the Lord's anointed?" David then called one of the attendants and said to him, "Come, strike him down." And the youth struck him a mortal blow. Meanwhile David said to him, "You are responsible for your own death, for you testified against yourself when you said, 'I dispatched the Lord's anointed.'"